It is time for the unofficial fifth major, the 3M Open here in my home state of Minnesota. Let's go. I got you covered 555 podcast today with everything you need to know about this week's PGA Tour event. And it is brought to you by the fine folks at DFS Army. Geek and the boys, let's go. What is up, my people? It is the unofficial fifth major, like I said, in my home state of Minnesota. I'm going to finger in there. Yeah, Minnesota, baby. We are here for the 3M Open at TPC Twin Cities down in Blaine. I am excited. This is actually the field is never going to be very good, but we've seen some guys play really, really well here over the course of their careers. Lots of major winners have done well here and been in the mix. Guys like Colin Morikawa, Wyndham Clark. Who else? We had Matthew Wolff, Tony Finau, obviously winner here, has played well here every single year. Bryson DeChambeau. Maybe it wasn't Colin. Maybe it was just Matthew Wolff and Bryson that year that were in the mix, if my memory serves me correctly. But it has been a lot of fun results here over the years. Cam Champ won here, so it is a fun event. And like I said, I like it. We are kind of in the snoozy fest time of golf. We'll get the 3M Open, and then we're talking Olympics. We're talking playoffs here, and then President's Cup. So we're getting into the NFL time of year. Speaking of NFL, if you are not a DFS Army VIP and you want to become a VIP, you get access to our golf content, our NFL content, all of it. It is getting to be that time, ladies and gentlemen. We are shortly going to be here for the preseason game, which we crush every year, it seems like. Use that code up north down here. Use that code up north, 10% off for life. Become a DFS Army VIP and get access to all of that. So let's get going here. Like I said, the 555 podcast, our 555 model. I give you 5 key stats or narratives for the week, 5 of my favorite plays on DraftKings and FanDuel, and 5 low-owned GPP punts. The first thing we need to talk about here is the weather. All right. It's been a weird summer here in Minnesota. It's been there. We had not a very warm June, but lots and lots and lots of rain. So what I'm hearing from the course down there is similar to what we're seeing. I'm about 4 hours north of where we are here this week at TPC Twin Cities. But what I'm hearing is that the rough is going to be pretty sticky and long. That rough has grown together with the rain. There's going to be a little bit of a premium placed on hitting the fairways this week. As you look at some of the past champs here, being long definitely helps. So long and in the fairway is going to be a great combo this week. Speaking of the weather looks perfect on Thursday. I think we're going to see guys take it pretty deep. This is almost always a birdie fest, but I think that we're going to see guys go real low here on Thursday. That changes a little bit on the weekend. All right. We are looking at a bit of a heat wave coming through. And with that dry Minnesota summer, July heat, we're going to see some wind as well. So the conditions actually might be a little tricky here. We do have lots of water on the course, especially on 18. As you're looking to close out your round, water will definitely come into play this week. So that wind is going to be a factor. And with the wind picking up on Friday, we do have the potential for another wave advantage. So you're going to want to pay attention to that. Find your local wind finder site. I believe it's the Blaine Airport. I could be wrong here. But again, I will have you guys covered. If you are DFS Army VIPs, I'll have you covered in the Discord. If we see anything that's, hey, you want to maybe target guys that are off in the afternoon, in the morning. So afternoon, Thursday, AM, Friday. So hot, windy weekend. The conditions will be fairly tough. Weak field. All right. But just because this is a weak field does not mean that we should smash the favorites. I think the gap, a lot of weeks, right? If you look even at the British Open, right? If you look at the field in general, the gap between the elite talent, the Scotty Schefflers, the Xander Schauffele's, the Rory McIlroys, and the bottom or the mid tier is pretty big. The gap in an event like this between, Tony Finau's had some wins, things like that, not a major champion. But between a guy like that and a 10-9 or 11-3 or whatever he is, and the 8-1 guy is not as big as you think. And the gap between that 8-1 guy and the 6-5 guy, and I'm saying 8.1K, 6.5K is even smaller. All right. Don't just because the field is weak doesn't mean that we should smash these high price guys. All right. Don't be afraid to dip into that, sub 7K range, the mid tier and the 7K, which I'm hammering this week, as you'll see here in a minute. And then, like I said in the opening, the 3M Open has seen these young guys get their first win or contend here over the years, especially some of the highly touted amateurs. So maybe a guy like Michael Thorbjornsson this week, or I'm underweight due to the pricing this week, but a Luke Clanton who's been playing some outstanding golf, a Neil Shipley. These young guns tend to rise to the top at the 3M Open. Something about this TPC Twin Cities course. So my favorite plays for the week. Just looking at that pricing tier, I kind of am coming down a little bit from those top guys, and my favorite play this week is Keith Mitchell. When I do sort of my model for the week and I look at who I like, Mitchell was number one with a bullet. Like, he was without a doubt my number one play, and that doesn't even bake into effect course history. We add in some course history and we're feeling pretty good about Keith Mitchell here. So a guy that I really like, a guy that burned everybody last week, missing the cut at the Open Championship, which is to be expected. It was his first Open Championship. He did get a lot of steam during the week, but Akshay Bhatia is going to, I think the big lefty is, or the big lefty, the skinny lefty is going to have a nice week here as he returns to the States. It's hard to deny Tony Finau's history here. The guy just top 10s every single year. And the 10-5 on DraftKings is we're used to seeing the 13,000, the 12.9, and I get that we don't get the change in the pricing with the $5,000 guys this week, but 10-5 is, again, I just said don't play the favorites, but it's too cheap. It's too cheap. It is. Billy Horschel, love the attitude. Obviously, heartbreak last week for Billy Horschel, but you can't deny how well he is playing. And then local-ish guy, Tom Hoagie, his ball striking is going to really, I think, go well here. He lives in Fargo, which is about 3.5 hours north and west of the Twin Cities. So a local-ish guy. 8,800 is too cheap for how good of a ball striker he is. Made the cut, at Scottish Open or the Open Championship, one of the two, last week or last 2 weeks. So his game's obviously in decent shape, had been playing well up into that. I like a guy who fires at pins. So like on a Thursday, right? Like a Tom Hoagie is a great first round leader bet. All right. Love him this week. And then, there's a big discrepancy in some of these prices this week. I don't know if they just didn't know how to price it, but FanDuel and DraftKings have some pretty big discrepancies between their guys. So like I like Tom Hoagie more on DraftKings than I do on FanDuel. But if you look here, I like Billy Horschel more on FanDuel than I do on DraftKings. All right. The 10-9 on FanDuel is wildly cheap. And the 9-6 is maybe a little bit expensive, but Hoagie is more expensive than Billy Ho on FanDuel. So you can sort of exploit those sites this week if you're looking to maybe get some leverage in how you are building your lineups. I said in the opening or in the intro there that I really like this mid 7K tier, and there you go. Chan Kim, outstanding golf, just knocking on the door, 76.97. He's long, he can putt, ball striking's good, love him. Mac Meisner, disappointing last week. Really should have won the CUDA and just didn't have it on Sunday. That's an event that you got to make birdies, and he couldn't get a birdie to drop for him. So it was a disappointing finish for Meisner last week. But I think that he's going to be right back into it. He's a guy that we've kind of been on for a couple of weeks now, and when guys are knocking on the door, we got to stay on them because they're going to pop through. The model of, and this is weird because it seems like we've seen this from sort of volatile players in the past, but guys that are up and down, missing cuts, contending, whatever, are becoming more consistent this year, and Johnny Vegas is one of them. The other guy that comes to my head is Siwoo Kim. So Johnny Vegas has been playing some just fantastic golf, top 30s all over the place. Good history here, 75, 55 to 1, I think, to win. I really am high on Johnny Vegas. That gut feeling of doing this for a long time and knowing kind of who Johnny Vegas has been for his entirety of his career makes me a little bit concerned, but a guy that I think has the chops to win here at 7,500. So it's hard to do that. Lee Hodges has been our boy all year. He's the defending champion. No question, 8,200. I'm all over him. And then Michael Thorbjornsen. And these aren't like super punts this week. I just really wanted to hammer home some of these mid-tier guys that I really like this week. So the majority of my lineup is going to be kind of circling around these 5, a few more in that 7K range. And then I'm going, okay, who can I pop up and get here at 9.5K? Can I get to a Billy Horschel? Can I get to a Keith Mitchell, a core player, more so for me? Can I get up and play maybe a Sam Burns? And then do I have to drop even more? And if you want to know who I'm dropping down below 7K, again, you got to become a DFS Army VIP. That info is only for my DFS Army VIPs. They can get that on the cheat sheet that we put out every single week. Thorbjornsen. I think everybody's going to be talking about Clanton this week. I don't think that there's that big of a difference between the two. Except for there is a $2,000 price difference in your salary. It's another thing. Don't feel like you need to spend all of your salary this week. I don't think it's super necessary. I think in a week like this, there's going to be some volatility, especially with the top guys. So don't feel like you need to, just because you can get to a Sam Burns or an Akshay Bhatia, even though I like them, doesn't mean that you have to. All right. And that's a good thing to remember just in lineup building in general. Now, if you're building like a single entry in a small thing, yeah, then do it. But if you are MMEing, don't feel like you need like that's one thing. If you're a DFS VIP, you can use the optimizer. I don't hate the idea of even just going to like 48.5 in our optimizer this week and saying, I'm going to leave 1,500 on the table on every single one of my lineups. See what happens. All right. I think that this is a perfect week to do that. So if you're running like the mini max, things like that, which I enjoy kind of messing around with, you throw a little bit of that out there and get a little funky and get rewarded in a big way. So that is what I got for you guys this week. That is the 555 PGA podcast brought to you by my fine folks at DFS Army. If you're on our DFS Army VIP, you can use that code up north, gets you 10% off for life. And we will, good luck at the 5th major this week. I will be watching. And probably from inside my house. It's supposed to be like 90 here in Minnesota all week. So I'm staying in the AC, baby. All right. Cheers.